Welcome, everyone, to this week's Oregon Minute. We've been on a bit of a hiatus as we've been figuring out new schedules and everything as things reopen with the pandemic. But today we have with us Village President Randy Glysch, and we're going to be talking about just his first couple of weeks in his new role. So, how's it going, Randy? It's really
So Emily, I have to tell you, I'm still getting used to that when people say Mr. President to me. It sort of just makes me smile and chuckle a little bit because it's something I'm sort of not used to. But I like. I mean, it's very kind of people to sort of to do that, and I like. It's good. Yeah.
And so, that's a really great, I think, lead into what I want to ask. So, what was your initial reaction to it's election night? It's probably late. You're looking at the results, and you find out you win. What was your initial
Well,
reaction?
so let me tell you what sort of happened. It happened during the primary too. I was pacing the floor, of course, and hoping, thinking, did I do everything that I should have done? Did people get my message? What I was trying to convey to people about who I was and what kind of president I would be and that sort of stuff. And so you sort of you really don't know until you sort of get the results, and then then you sort of can look, and it's like in 1 second you're afraid to sort of look at the results because you don't know what they're going to be. But I mean, I will tell you that, I mean, I will say that I think I had a very, throughout even the primary, a very positive reaction from people when I was out in neighborhoods and was able to sort of talk to somebody if I saw them outside, and emails and things like that. So I felt that I was sort of, that people were positive about me running. I I was obviously very happy with the results. I mean, I think I did pretty well. So that was a relief. And then, I never take anything, even in the primary, I never took anything for granted. Even when I won the primary, the next day I was right out there, and I wanted to show people that I was a guy that was willing to work for this, and it wasn't, nothing was automatic just because I had done some projects. And that's how I sort of even feel. So today is a month after the election. It's kind of my first month, and I sort of feel the same way. And sometimes I find myself like, shouldn't I be doing something like every minute as village president and all that sort of stuff? I mean, I will say that I'm quite busy, because one of the things, and I'll just sort of jump in. One of the things that I've been doing since I got elected is to, I'm a big relationship guy, because I think that's how you sort of get things done and within communities. And so I've been sort of reaching out to the mayors. I met with the Stoughton mayor and the Fitchburg mayor, and this weekend I meet with the Verona mayor, and then also our neighbors, our community neighbors. I was just at the town of Oregon's meeting to introduce myself, and I've been at the Dunn meeting. And so that, it just really is important. And I will just say that, to me, that there's a really good feel. I have a really good feel about going forward. Of course, I love Oregon. I love what we do, and I just want us to be the best. And I just want to be the best champion that any other village president has been. I want to tell everybody about our citizens and what we've done, and I'm very excited about. We can do anything. That's how I feel.
And so it sounds like you're hitting the ground running. And I remember that was in conversations we've had about your campaign. That was a phrase you used, hitting
Yes,
the ground running, as well as getting things done. So then it sounds like you're settling in. Great.
settling in,
Hitting
and
the ground running more so.
yeah, and so there's a couple things. During the campaign, one of the priorities that a lot of us said was the new village administrator, and we said goodbye to Mike Grace on Monday, but we also welcomed our new village administrator, Martin Shanks, who will tomorrow, it'll be his first week. So, some new beginnings. The other thing is that, we have 3 new board members on the village board. Plus we have one member who's taking a little leave for a little time. So, we sort of need to kind of feel each other out. And one of the things that I had on the agenda for Monday was I've asked all the current board members to send me their 3 top priorities that they think that the village board should work on, just so we know what we think that the village should concentrate on. And I think instead of trying to guess where people are, let's see if we can sort of get on the same page right away, and let's see if we can deal with some of those. I think workforce housing and things like that will continue to be top priorities, but there may be some other things. So I want us to work as a team. I mean, that's really important to me. I come from a team-based kind of management style. I'm not a micromanager. Just because I'm the village president doesn't mean I'm the king. We're all here. There's seven votes, and sometimes we won't probably all agree on everything, but we still can come together and respect each other and hopefully get some things done. So.
And I think that's a great point that you bring up, is your emphasis on relationships and your collaborative team approach to leadership. And so, you have a background in psychology and research and all that. So, how do you think you'll use those skill sets to help you? You're still assessing what everybody's goals are, but how do you think you'll use those skill sets and background to help pursue your goals as president, and as well as to meet the goals of trustees?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we have a lot of commonality. I think that we might, in terms of what the trustees want to sort of accomplish, and myself. But I think, as you said, for me, the relationship is just about respecting each other, let people being heard, acknowledging new ideas. That's all important. I mean, people need to understand they're valued, and that also goes for this, all the residents of the village too. I mean, I get emails and things with people have suggestions, and I welcome that. I sort of been telling, let us sort of get our feet off the ground, but there's been some good suggestions, and that's how you sort of move forward. And we are there to serve the village residents, and so we need to listen to their voice. We might not always agree, but everybody's got a voice. Everybody's should have the opportunity to be heard, and I think I'm hoping that's what we're going to see.
So even though you are assessing the goals of the collective, the board administrator, what are some of your own goals as village president? Some things you want to accomplish, and then building off of that question, what are some challenges that you foresee as well?
Yeah. So I think even and I look at this a lot every couple of days of what I said were my priorities for when I was doing the campaign, and I want to make sure that I stay true to those sorts of things. And so, like, one of the things was, one of the first ones was embrace differences and be open to new ideas. Just because things were done one way before doesn't mean that we can't change things. So I want all of us to sort of be open, because sometimes change is hard, but sometimes change is good too. I mean, take for example the village administrator. Mike is gone. We all love Mike, and he did a fantastic. But we have to embrace. We have a new village administrator who's going to have maybe a different style or different ideas, and we need to embrace that. And as I said, people emailing me, I like that, because maybe they're thinking of something that I don't know. I don't have I'm not, just because I'm village president doesn't mean I have every answer. And this is a community, so we need to sort of embrace everybody's sort of ideas. And then what you were saying, what was your second part again?
Sure. So maybe some challenges that you.
Yeah, I think that, the biggest thing that I'm seeing, because one of the things that I started working on already has to do with biking. And, we have these trails, and we have one part of our trails underwater, but I've also already talked to, and we're going to actually meet with them in a couple of weeks, the Dane County Executive's Office, about looking for some help, potentially maybe extending the Rotary Trail. There's been some talks previously in the past, and then, but also, we're still working on some options to get that Rotary Trail. I know that's important for all of us. We'd like to see that because of the water, and some of the water has went down, but it's still there. But we need to sort of fix. So I would say time. And sometimes I'm impatient. I want to get things. Let's get it done now. And sometimes, things take a little longer. And so I have to sort of remind myself that that's okay. It might just take a little bit longer. It's like the same thing I was saying before about me, like that I feel like I need to be doing something as village for every minute. It's okay that I don't have to be doing something. I have there's a balance and all that sort of stuff. And things take time, and relationships take time. Let me just say one thing I've noticed, that since I've reached out to other communities, and people, my impression is people really appreciate that. Asking to have just a cup of coffee and talk, it puts value on our relationship with other communities and other people. And everybody likes that. Everybody likes to feel wanted and valued. So I think but I think the time, I have to sort of remind myself that I can't get everything done in one day. It's going to take several things. And the other thing that I would tell you, the challenge is, there is a lot of stuff going on now that we're sort of hopefully getting out of the pandemic. I mean, obviously we want to see our businesses do well, and people go to them, but there's a lot of things all happening at once. And sometimes it's hard to sort of keep track of everything, but so I think that's a little surprise for me, that there is so much going on, and to sort of keep on top of it.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of instances where, time might apply. I mean, yeah, and you're right about there's a lot of different things going on in the village because, of course, you have the new library building project, and
Right.
there were some really important points I think about parking
Yes, in
that
fact,
were brought up at a recent
yeah,
village board meeting.
so that,
Yeah,
that's one of
that's
the
a
challenges
conversation.
that we have to deal with here shortly. In fact, tonight on the plan commission, there's a discussion about how and we're looking at lots of different options, and hopefully everybody sort of can come together, and I know we can figure this out. I know we will. We got the funding, which is a great relief. But these other things, the parking thing, we'll figure it out. I think we'll figure it out. We'll have to be open, compromise, whatever, but we will do it. So that's one thing too. And the village hall, now we own the bank, that bank on Alpine so that was one of the priorities too, that about doing that. So we acquired that. So that'll be coming up too, because probably not until next year. Probably not until next year will the village hall make the transition to the new bank. But there's that. We're starting to think about the senior center. That's going to be coming up in a year or two. So there is a lot of things happening.
So, when you envision what the village looks like a couple of years from now, when the opportunity comes up that you depending on, what path you choose, whether you seek reelection or, by the time the next, round of village president elections come around, what do you envision under your leadership that the village may hopefully, if you meet all of your goals, and
Yeah.
how do you envision, what do you see the village looking like?
I hope, and it was one of my hopes during the campaign, that anybody who wants to live in the village is able to do that. We got a couple habitat projects and some affordable housing, and I think if we sort of continue down that route, I think I would be really happy that if anybody wanted to live or that they were able to sort of do that. That's important to me. The seniors are important to me as well, that we continue, and Mike was really good at this, and as a village board, that we continue to watch those finances, and make sure that we're spending our money wisely. And I hate it when people tell me that we're taxing them out of their homes. I mean, that's an important thing for me, especially the seniors, because they're valuable. They're so valuable to our community. They're a big part of our community, and we need to take care of them as we do everybody else. So I hope we have more. The parks. We haven't done a park for a long time. We just did a couple of them. I hope we sort of continue down that path. One of our greatest, the open spaces that we have is fantastic. So I hope we sort of continue that. I think that we'll see, there's going to be some work that we're going to have to do with the school district. They want to build a new school up by McDonald's, and thankfully we have a good relationship with the school board, and I think that will continue. So I think if my term were to come and I would hope that sort of getting back to that relation, that we were able to create even better relationships, and that we were able to work together and accomplish some common goals. So that's sort of some of them. And our businesses, that our businesses are thriving, that they're doing well, they're getting support from the community, because if we don't have those businesses downtown, we don't have a downtown. And also, the other thing for me is I want to have some fun. I want us, we're up, Jeff Rao and I are already looking at in August to have that ice cream social that we've had, kind of, tied to the Tin Man, but sort of going out of COVID. We're looking at hopefully something in August, but to have some fun and celebrate too, that all of us, all the residents, can come together downtown and have some fun.
Yeah. It's been really exciting hearing you talk about upcoming events. It's been really exciting to see all of that stuff come back, and I bet we can agree that it's a relief.
It is a relief, and now that I think it's just this week that the rules have been changed now, so more capacity in 75%, I think, in restaurants. So that's a good thing, because I know that a lot of our businesses have struggled, and because they didn't have patrons and stuff. So that's just all great, good stuff for the village, and we want them to succeed. When they succeed, we succeed.
Well, Randy, I think that's a great transition. I always like to ask everybody, is there anything else you would like to tell our viewers before we conclude today?
So Emily, one of the things that I it's sort of a continued thing from the campaign is that on my Facebook page, what I like to do is, and I've been doing it, is sort of every couple of days, just sort of go on my Facebook page and let the residents kind of know what I'm up to. because I think that's important that they know what I'm trying to do for the village. And the other thing is, how grateful I am that, and Mike Grace mentioned this week, and he said, Randy, you started with wanting to put some flowers around the pump house, and now you're the village president. And so, we're sort of iconic, and I never want to take any of that for granted. And I am very honored that the voters supported me, and I don't want to let anybody down. So I'm going to try every day, and I want to be positive. I want it to be fun. There's a lot of work. Sometimes work isn't always fun, but I want the village residents to feel good about me, that I'm representing them as village president, and that I'm a champion for the village. And I don't ever want that to go in, and I want to be positive. We can always sort of work. There'll be challenges, but we can work through them, and we'll do the best that we can. And that's how I like to live my life, because it's a downer to be negative. I want us to be positive, and I think the voters want somebody to be positive as their village president. So,
Well, thank you for just all of your words today, and for taking the time to be with us today on the
my pleasure. Anytime. I always like talking to you, Emily.
Thank you. A fun fact, you were actually my first interview, Randy. I remember when we talked about the neighborhood sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, for I can't quite remember.
Over on South Main Street.
Yeah, South Main. Yeah.
Yeah.
First story I ever wrote for the Observer, and you were
So, Emily, just a kind of a quick thing. I was on a planning call, because we had a planning meeting for 3 hours on Zoom yesterday, and one of the speakers that had to come on was somebody that I worked with in my old neighborhood in Madison about 20 years ago, and we hadn't seen each other. So it's just sort of funny how things make this this circle, and how you sort of run into people that you used to work with. And he worked with our neighborhood. We did a neighborhood roundabout, it was called, and I hadn't seen him for all these years, so it was a thrill for us to sort of see each other again. But it's all and it's all about relationships. It matters, I think. So.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Randy, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. And as always, to all of our viewers, we're still figuring out, regular scheduling for this show as things continue to reopen, and schedules continue to evolve. But, this episode will air tonight at 7 p.m. And feel free to tune in at that time for other episodes as well.